Welcome to Becoming Parents Podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Campbell, mom of 18 and executive director of the Doula Co-op of Nevada. With more than 15 years in birth work, I've had the privilege of walking beside families through life's transitions. My work centers on connection, community, and amplifying voices that too often go unheard. Each of these episodes is an honest conversation about the messy, beautiful, and transformative experiences that shape us as parents and as people. I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to the incredible guests who show up with courage and authenticity to share their stories with us. Let's dive right in. Welcome to Becoming Parents. Today, I am with Kanika. How are you? You're in Australia.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Jennifer. It's so good to be here.
I'm so excited. We have a big time difference. This is really fun. I love having people from all over the place come in, and I'm excited about you sharing your journey. So jump in wherever is appropriate for you.
Yeah, let's talk about my parenting journey.
Yeah.
So I always wanted kids. Always. I was always in love with kids. I was always playing with the younger kids, even at school. And my parents would go like, "Why are you always playing with them?" But I always found them a bundle of joy. And I knew the first child I knew I wanted a male. Just because I felt they're more fun. um, and I wanted a nice, playful kid. So after I married, it took us time. We had to go through some fertility stuff. And then I got my first baby exactly as I wanted. That was amazing. And then we weren't really planning for another baby, but I got pregnant again. And I also lost her at 31 weeks.
Oh,
That was a roller coaster of a pregnancy. I was going through a lot during my pregnancy. Medically, it was all good. But just internally, I wasn't feeling good. I was questioning a lot of things in my marriage and just about me, my own identity, what am I here to do, etc. And then when I found out that I was pregnant with her, one of the biggest questions that I had at the time was, how will I make her happy? Because I have done a lot of the things that I felt were okay, were the right things to do to come to this stage in life and feel good about life. How am I going to do that with her? So it was sort of problem solving, and I was very stressed about that. With my son, I just knew lives are different in terms of gender. That's what I understood at that point in time. And then I lost her, and it was heartbreaking, obviously, but it was also, I think, one of the most needed things for me. And I say that with caution. I say that understanding that when people go through it, this is not something easy at all. But I was almost depressed, Jennifer. I was running away from my pain during the whole time. In my pregnancy, I was more about, well, how am I going to figure my life out? So it was very hard. And I think I needed to lose her to really start relooking at life. It was a very different time after I lost her. First of all, I wasn't able to run away from the pain. Other pain before that, you can get busy with other things. You can sort of knock it out. You can be in denial. Whereas this motherhood is just so much me. Like, I love kids, all kids till date. I just love them. There's the way people love dogs or cats. I just have a very, very special place for kids. So losing her was very hard. But also, when I lost her, I had my son at 2 years old, and my daughter, of course, I'd lost her. 2 years old is a special age too, because you looking after them, they sort of don't let you rest. You just want to make sure that they're not getting into trouble, and you have to be present with them. And what I got to notice with that while I'm grieving and I'm shocked and I'm trying to understand my life, I was understanding how much my son was curious just with crinkled paper or little things in life that we take for granted. And so I got this beautiful contrast in life where I was so low on life, I wanted to check out. And I had my son who was so much in love with life that I really had to wonder how did I go from that stage sometime to this stage now? So, with everything that was happening and also wanting to connect with my daughter, I got into energy healing. I got into connecting with the Akashic records and I connected with my daughter because I really wanted to find out what happened, why I lost her. And actually, I felt really guilty as well that I lost her. It was something wrong that I did.
Mm.
So when I reached out to her, I connected with her as a spirit. And I said, I'm really sorry I lost you. And she said that she was never meant to be born, that it wasn't my fault, that we had a soul agreement way before I came on earth. And the agreement was that if I was losing my life, if I was wasting it, then she would just come and wake me up. So she had done her deal. So she's been my mentor, my guide so far. Everything that I've done is through the learnings with her. And it is so strange that death has brought me closer to life.
Oh, that I can understand that. Did you in your studies learn about microchimerism? It's
No.
it's the scientific proof that when a woman is pregnant, her DNA changes based on the fact that you have different DNA inside you. So not only is the baby taking your DNA, you're taking the baby's DNA, and it can be found in your body for decades. So it's the philosophy that, like, even in loss, that child is always with you. A part of them is always with you. And that gets me super choked up.
Yeah, can I share something? Like
Yes.
one of the things we found out because it was a healthy pregnancy and I wasn't
Yeah.
technically supposed to lose her. And I kept asking the doctors afterwards as well, hey, what happened? And at that point in time, I was thinking, well, I lost her. I do want to have another child. So we did an MRI with her. And what we found was that actually her blood was found in my placenta. So rather than the mom giving blood or giving life, she was losing blood. How that happened, I don't know the whole story. I don't know the medical science behind that. But I know that she was actually giving life to me. And she did change my life, like literally from darkness to light. And she continues till this day. So thank you for sharing. I will look up microchimerism as
It's great.
well.
It's just it. I think when you go through a loss, it's it's common that we're searching for something. We want to make sense out of something that really just doesn't make sense. And that sends us all on such different journeys. So for me, I like to know that there's something logical, like tangible, scientific, like I can prove this. And that was something that helped me a lot because I knew that for decades this baby's always with me. The babies that you lose, including the babies that you give birth to, though, also, like,
Oh,
they change who you
yeah.
are at a, like, at a genetic level. Not just, we know
Yes.
becoming a parent changes who you are. It changes a lot of ways, but like from a DNA standpoint, it's changing who you are. So I I completely understand that. Did you had a normal pregnancy with your son?
I
Labor?
had a normal pregnancy. Yes. He was just a vacuum suction baby. But apart from that, it was a normal pregnancy.
Okay.
With my daughter, we weren't planning pregnancy. So it just happened very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Still surprised, but I think it was all meant to be. It was
Yeah.
all divinely planned.
Did you have children after her at all?
I tried and at that time, and it wasn't working out. Like I remember at the time as I was just, wanting to logically solve it and
Yeah.
then have the next baby. That didn't happen. But I know the plan now. It wasn't the plan, like she said very certainly, that the plan never was that she would be born. Her plan was to come into my life and radically shift it. Like here I was before this, I was an engineer, an MBA professional, very, very logical minded, very thinking in terms of all the black and white lines, and you don't cross the lines, and there's a straight path that you do. Everything is a very defined equation.
Right. I know. Yeah.
And life after her is so fundamentally different. I
Mhm.
think the biggest blessing she gave to me was just looking at life differently. So I continued my corporate job for some time. And as I kept doing the energy healing work, because I'm an engineer, so logical, like you too, I'm trying to find the proof in things before I believe them. But I kept doing the energy healing work, and I kept finding that as I was internally shifting my world, I was also able to shift the world outside. I'll give you examples. Like that time, I was coming out of a marriage that wasn't working out, and I was so stressed out about finding a job because I'd done a business before that. So I had a long career break. I'd also moved to a very different part of Western Australia, which is so big on mining. I had no idea about mining. Like I had good work experience, but it'd been a long time. It didn't sort of seem to fit in here. I was trying to find out how do I find the connections and things like that. Um, and I got, it is just insane how another friend found me from another city. And then he said, well, I have a company that is looking for a job, and I think you should put your CV there. And then what are the odds that I send my CV that is the exact profile that they're looking for?
Mhm.
And I had been wanting a workplace that would be so well balanced with men. I wanted to see healthy examples of men as dads. So I wanted like a really good, healthy environment. And that is what I got. It still baffles me to this date. I continued doing the work. I kept going more and more promotions. I was called up for promotions. I was called up for work, which is still crazy if I think, like, how is all of this happening? I've got a young kid, I'm balancing the kid, and I'm yet, like, professionally, life is going on really well. So I sort of did it on the side for a long time. And then I was just getting the nudge, like, you should do this full time. You should do this full time. And for me, that's just become a way of honoring my daughter, whatever that nudge is. It's crazy, but I go like, okay, I've got you. Like this is, I surrender. So now the path has led me to just diving into this whole fully. So it's been 2 years now. And I have enjoyed really helping clients transform their lives. The more I've dived into it, the more I've understood energy healing
Mhm.
and strategy, how they beautifully work together. And my clients make really, really big moves. I would have never even known that if I hadn't jumped on this journey myself. Like, there's a client who was wanting to write a book for 7 years. She had it in her head. She wanted to write that. And we did 2 sessions together. Before me, she was getting physically sick when she would want to write the book.
Mhm.
Like that's how deep the fears and patterns were inside her. We did 2 sessions together, and that month she finished her book. It's going to come out this year. So it's just one story, but there are just so many stories of how this work has changed lives. And I wouldn't have been able to do this if if I hadn't thought of life, if I hadn't met life in this way.
I think it's so fascinating. Those of us who are more logically geared, like I do energy work. I don't even pretend to understand it. I actually think it's easier not to try to understand it. I don't get it. I'm not going to get it. I don't want to get it. It's fine. But I think it's like the bigger you are, the harder you fall. You know, people who are really logical that need to prove everything that get into energy work, it's just you're different. You're different than
Yeah.
someone who comes by it naturally, and that's not a put down to other people. But when you question everything about how things work and then you move into this, it just sits differently. So I appreciate that you sharing that part of you. Going from an engineer to energy work, I'm like, what how is that possible? So talk about making that shift. You used your own journey. You said she was supposed to be the nudge that made sure you were living life.
Yeah.
How hard was that to work through? on your own? Like, how did you have to surrender, I think, at some point. Maybe that's the word I would use, but how did that progress for you and how did it change your life outside of changing your career?
So for me, in the beginning stages, as I lost my daughter, I really wanted to connect with her because I wanted to just make sure she was fine.
Mm,
Um, I did not get the opportunity to connect with her, hold her. She was just in my womb, right? So I did feel her then, but I never really got to feel her alive. And I
mm,
wanted to convey that, hey, I love you. I wanted to say, I'm sorry. I think there were so many things that I wanted to say. I wanted to just make sure that she was fine. And it is one of those times where you're willing to take more of a leap of faith
mm,
than the other times. Because that time I was so deeply into, well, I really want to connect with her. But there were so many things that happened during that time that I really did feel held despite the loss that we were going through. If I give you a couple of examples at the time, because, this is my engineer mind. So we were at the time in a remote part in Australia. We didn't have family around. My family is from India. My parents were planning to come and support while the baby would be born. But that was planned for later because I lost her at 31 weeks. So when I lost her,
mhm,
we didn't have family around. I actually had to go home after that. And my son was two, so I had to figure out daycare for him, like somebody who would look after him. So it was planned that we would come in the next day. And I wrote to my daycare and I said, look, by any chance, do you have spots available for the next day so that I can, go ahead? And they were so kind, but it's not just about kindness. You also have to have the right numbers to be able to have another baby for the whole week. And they were able to have the baby. And there was one nanny or the educators from the daycare who volunteered that she would just come and she would be with our baby, with our child, while I was in the hospital, just in case it needed to be a longer time.
mm,
And it just so happened that when I was trying to deliver my daughter, because it was so something that I wasn't physically ready to let go of, it just took me a lot longer. Like I started at 9 in the morning and I hadn't delivered the baby because I was getting the contractions, then my physical body was trying to stop it. They had to induce me thrice. It still wasn't happening. Finally, they put me to sleep with morphine. And that's when the baby came out because I was just controlling it,
yeah.
not controlling it, not consciously, but I was doing it. And she stayed with us the whole night.
Mhm.
Um, because my baby only came out at 4 a.m. in the morning. But there were just so many things where we felt so magically taken care of, things that were not planned and things that worked out. That time I was asking the universe that, hey, I just need to connect with her. And it was not not a prayer like maybe. It was more like, hey, I'm a mom. I just need this. Just the way a mom would fight for her kid. It was more like, hey, I need to know, I need to connect with my daughter. And then this is another funny story. That's the time I was trying to understand energy healing. And I went to a library with my son. And 2-year-old kids, I'm trying to find a book on meditation. And it's hard to focus on myself with a 2-year-old kid running around and crawling everywhere or doing other stuff. And so I just said that, I need a time where I can be in a library and I can be alone, but I just need that time. And I left it at that and I went about doing my thing because my days were just busy. And then I had to get my driver's license renewed. I went to a place, not my usual one. I had to get my photo taken. So I booked into this government place that I was supposed to get my driver's license renewed. And guess what? While I was waiting in queue, there was a library that was connected next to it.
Oh my gosh.
So there are just so many miracles like that. That's where I found my meditation book. That's how I started, finding things. It was like life was finding me. It was giving me all those things. I found a teacher that time. And what I did start doing, this is what my teacher explained, is that instead of trying to map it, well, is it working or not? Look at the results. What is happening for you? You have a focus. You set your intention. This is what I want, and see whether you are getting that or not. So I was still new to it, but I was experimenting more and more. And then when I wanted to connect with my daughter, I said, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to connect with my daughter, but I really want to know that it's her and it's not just something vague that I'm tuning into. And get this, there's almost no way to have like a physical connection with your unborn child, because how do you relate that? There was a herbal tea that I used to drink made of licorice
Mm-hmm.
when I was pregnant with her. Literally, like the only physical connection that you could say. And licorice is such a unique smell as well.
Mm-hmm.
And even till date, a lot of times, the first time as well, when she came through, I knew her because I had a taste of licorice in my mouth. And it is so different. I don't stock licorice in my pantry. I never have it. And even these days, it's continued. Like sometimes I'll be driving, I'll be taking a shower, and I'll have a sudden licorice taste. And it is so undeniable that I'm not making it up, because it is so unique that, okay, this is her. She's telling me something. So that's how I've believed more and more over time. After some time, it's like, okay, this is what's happening. And actually, this world is a lot more real to me. I think as humans, we understand a lot less about consciousness. It's more about just knowing more and more. And rather than not trusting, I believe we should probably surrender,
Mm.
because so much of what goes on there is what drives us and our physical lives.
You've done a lot of work on the womb, and
Yes.
that's very specifically that's part of when I read some of your information, and you were talking about infertility, miscarriage, birth trauma, which is huge, reclaiming your body, a difficult postpartum, healing generational trauma, like that the womb actually is a place to process grief, creativity, and healing. And I go to someone for massage, and she does Reiki and other energy stuff too. And I started going to her after a car accident. And she's like, oh, you hold everything right here. This is where you hold your babies. And I remember being like, what? Right in the middle of just like a massage session. We weren't even focusing on energy work. And I had a hysterectomy, so I don't have a womb. So,
Yeah.
like, then where does it go? What happens to all of that? Where can I access it? But I want you to talk a lot about that, because you talk about how it's not just a space of life, it's loss, memory, and healing, and imprinting experiences. Can we tangent in those directions? Because there's so many ways we could go with this.
Yeah, thank you. I love talking about it as well. Um, where should we start? Well,
Yeah.
first of all, we have our physical bodies and we have our energetic bodies. And our energetic bodies, think of them more like imprints of your body, but also they hold the space of what you can have and what you can't have. But any physical body parts that you've lost, they're still there in the energetic body. So energetically, your womb is there. Energetically, all your parts are there. Now, the womb, it's interesting. And I'll give you a couple of contrasts just to think through so that listeners can think through and ponder about it for themselves as well. Because I could just bring out the stuff, but I wanted to just think of it in general and see how you feel. And the womb, we know, is a dark place. Think about the universe. Think about any photograph that you've seen, perhaps of the solar system, of the galaxy, and the space behind that is dark. That place, that dark space, and sometimes in the mystical world that's referred to as the void, that dark space holds everything. It's like that space where all the stars are born, where all the galaxies are born, then they're destroyed, and they come back up as well. And our womb also has that. It's dark. It's also the place where babies are born. As females, we also have a cycle where we clean it. And then there's a new lining. There's fresh chances of birth. So I want you to just think around those similarities and around how the womb feels. And as much as humans, we would like to be in control and we would want to say, hey, I know what's happening and I know what's happening with the baby. We have no idea. I'll
No.
also say this. Like, I used to believe in the medical world so much more, and I'm not putting any one of them down. I think we are more trying to figure out what is really happening. Like, when they do the scans, they're more trying to figure out, okay, how is the baby happening and developing, rather than trying to know, okay, like, yes, we have trend lines, but they don't quite know how to do it.
Mm-mm.
I had my scan with the baby just a week before. It was absolutely fine. So when we are measuring in science, it's a lagging indicator. They're more trying to assess, hey, this is going on, this is how it should be, and now maybe we have something to worry about, or maybe we have something not to worry about. But humans could try, we could not manufacture a baby. It's still a mystery about how things happen, how things correct. So the womb space actually holds all that creative power, and it's beyond thinking about just the babies. For women, it holds a lot of the creative power as well. Whatever you want to bring into this world, it holds all your stories. So think of the womb as the place that connects you to this eternal consciousness where all birth and rebirth happens. It's not just the birthplace. And when you start exploring that, it is amazing how much women can tap into. Not just around babies, but it's your projects that you want to do, everything that you want to bring forth. We do tend to hold a lot in our wombs because we are used to holding babies. So we also tend to hold a lot. The womb can be like a giant pool. And in that pool will come in all our partners, all the people who said something, and so on. Usually, all those emotions stay in there. The best way to start being more effective with whatever you want to bring out in the world is to fish out all the other people, let them go from your pool because it is your creative pool. It is the source of your life force that you bring into this world. When we all incarnate, we all bring our special life force in. Think of that as, however you think that you came on earth, but you have a certain battery or like a life force that comes with you. This is your essence. This is why you come in. This is your purpose that you want to bring into this world. And your womb is that space where you bring that life force in. So it stems out from there and comes into the world. A lot of times when I'm working with clients, and even when they have pregnancy issues, or they might not want a child, or there are other things going on, this is the place that you look at for ancestral healing, for all the unborn babies and everything, and give them a healing. But this connects you to a much wider aspect of you. We tend to think of us as one person, we are one person.
Mm-hmm.
But your soul is much bigger than that. Like, think of an apple for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Any apple, red apple, green apple, right? Think of an apple and chop it up into 1,000 pieces. Pick one slice out.
Mm-hmm.
That's paper thin. That slice is your current lifetime. The rest of the apple, your whole soul, is that infinite part of you. And your womb connects you to all of you. So think about the knowledge that you have right now in this lifetime and whatever you're able to tap into right now. When you connect through the womb, you're able to totally connect fully into your consciousness and all the wisdom from that lifetime, like literally your infinite potential, connection ability exists in your womb.
Mm. So you jumped into this now, which is, it's so fascinating. And then you see clients, like you just saw a client about writing a book, but so it's not specific to birth or birth work.
No, I started more with birth work.
Yeah.
And I still help parents who are on their parenting journey of any form. About half of my clients, they still tend to be that way. I think that's just my history and that
Mhm.
comes like that, which I love.
Mhm.
But my main focus now is to help conscious coaches grow profitable businesses.
Mm.
And there's so many things that I can do. I think this is the one that fills my cup the most because it also brings out more in the world. If there are more conscious coaches, there are more healers who can have profitable businesses, then the world itself will have a much more higher vibration. There's just so much more impact that we can have. Yeah, but my recipe or the way of working with any client
Mhm.
is pretty much the same. I look at your Akashic records. I look sort of at the imprint. You know, when you look at the physical body, there's think of your computer. The computer has an operating system. It's more like looking at the operating system, and I see what that system is, what the softwares are on there, and I see the glitches, and I remove the glitches. I reprogram the internal operating system so it's attuned to your soul blueprint. And that's how the big shifts happen with my clients. They'll have shifts in their co parenting journeys where initially they are on opposite poles. They're like really fighting a lot, but I want to work towards the well being of the child. So then they have a more amicable place. They also start understanding each other more and they work more as co parents together. So that's one of the ways in which I help parents. But everything is related because I'm just bringing you back to your divine soul blueprint.
That was a great way to describe it. That was a really great way. Well, I'm logical, so it made a lot of sense to me. So I loved that. You,
Thank you, because it does
yeah,
have different
like, oh, I
tangents.
get that. That makes perfect sense. I know it makes sense to other people who are more in tune and open to energy work. I I'm a little different. I need it to make sense to me. So that was really amazing. You you help leaders, coaches, entrepreneurs. You want them to align so that they have better finances, visibility, impact, and make sure that they maintain joy, which is one of my favorite words, their relationships, their energy. And so you're clearing things out and coaching them to get through whatever's holding them back, like that being nauseous over writing a book. Definitely there was something there. And then they are able to just move forward without, I think we are our own worst critics and enemies without realizing it, but getting through like those unconscious self-sabotage almost.
Yeah. So, what I do is I help you tune in to your next level version. Like, literally, you see it, you are able to see, okay, this is what my next level version does.
Mhm.
And I use that as a hack. So if clients come to me saying that, oh, I don't know how to write this book, this is what I want to write about. So we dive into what is your next level version doing? What is the book she's writing about? How many chapters does it have? Okay, let's now look at chapter 7, whatever they're working on. So we just deep dive into that and we go deep. But if it's about bringing a coaching product in the market, then it'll be okay, what sort of coach are you? Are people working with you one on one? Are you doing group coaching? What are you talking about? What are you teaching them? Who are your ideal clients? But we take the cheat sheet from your next level.
That's great.
And that is such a shortcut way of doing it. Because instead of trying to figure out through trial and error and going like, maybe this works, maybe this doesn't work, it just takes all that out and it goes, okay, now you're supposed to go from point A to point B, and this is what your next level looks like. So then comes after that is the fear, internal fear, the imposter syndrome, or us holding ourselves back. And then we embody that next level more. So we bring out that imprint and we just bring it forward into our space and we embody that more. But we also look at the strategy part of it. Okay, how am I supposed to do this? And so the whole process becomes, first of all, with a much more collapsed timeline because it's quicker. You've just embodied, you have shortcutted a lot of the internal sabotages. And
Mhm.
that's why my clients have big breakthrough. Like before me, it's very common for me that clients will come in, they'll say, oh, I've got this even $111 membership. They're not able to sell it. They're not able to find people for it. They're struggling with it. So that's their story. That's been there for a year and a half. And then we start working together. And last time my client went for a haircut, the lady asked her what she does. She explained that, and it was so clear, it was so compelling. And long and short of it is that she had a $5,000 client in 2 days from a haircut.
Right. I want to just shout out some of the work
So,
that you've done too. Like I work with birth work, so maternal health. And you talk about even energetically protecting themselves from taking on things from labor and delivery, which is huge in our line of work, and releasing trauma that you're holding on to. And so I love the work that you're doing.
yeah, like especially with parents, I find a lot of times that when parents come to me, there'll be stuff that they're holding for their babies or kids. As much as we love them, there are sometimes relationships where you go like, gosh, this is just so exhausting.
Yeah.
Maybe why does my kid have this condition? Or why is it like this? Why do I always feel like I'm fighting with my kid? And usually what's happening underneath is that there is some karmic loop that's going on. There's something that you are still balancing out and paying in this lifetime. So I look back at what is that past life stuff happening. So just that the communication between the two parties is much more clear.
Mhm.
And I've worked with parents who've said that their kids are suffering from anxiety. Like one of the ladies came, her 8-year-old son was just suffering from anxiety. He would get so controlling with other people that she was worried he was not making enough friends and so on. And I did 2 remote sessions with her. So this is not looking at the child. This I'm just taking permission from the child spirit to work with them. But I was working with the mom,
Mhm.
and through her, I was accessing the child, and he was wanting to be healed. And we worked on that. And she's like, gosh, he is changing. Like the way he used to feel anxious is not the same way now. It's definitely calmed down, it's become better. So it plays out in different ways. A lot of the time, the drama in parenting
Mm.
is not always the stuff that you actually have to live through. It's just that the operating system has got some glitches, and those glitches are making you have that. Like there can be, just like angels, they can be darker entities in there. They can be some sort of miswiring in your operating system that
Mhm.
makes things happen a certain way. That does not mean that you have to live with that. You can realign it to your divine soul blueprint and reprogram your life so it does not have to be limited or controlled.
I think that happens a lot in parenting. I love this. I love what you do, and we could talk about this all day. I want you to share how people can reach you. We have all of your the way to connect with you, your social media in the show notes. We have all that information. But talk about how people can connect and work with you.
Yeah, amazing. Just reach out to me at Kanika Energy Coach on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and reach out, say hi. The best way to work with me is just find out. And even if nothing else, like I do short clarity calls, just 15 minutes. And people tell me all the time that even just that gives them a lot of clarity about how or what's going on in their life and provides them a way forward. So just come in, have a chat. I'd love to help.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, for having me here. It's been such a pleasure.